I interviewed Jörg Neumann, the head of Microsoft Flight Sim, yes, the big boss, and tried to ask him the most pressing questions about Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 that you guys wanted to know. Here's that interview. Hope you enjoyed it. As well, watch all of the gameplay videos I just posted about Flight Sim 2024. Enjoy. Okay, so slightly different video today. We are here with the head of Microsoft Flight Sim, Jörg Neumann. Thank you so much, really, for the invite, everything. I feel honored. I really do.
That's great.
Especially because I just mess around in the sim and do dumb stuff. But really, I appreciate it. I've had a wonderful day. And some of these questions are going to be, I guess, redundant to you and I because we had a presentation. But I know I get asked them essentially every day about the current sim, about new sim, everything. So I want to get some of these out of the way. First of all, some just opinion questions. What are you most excited for in the new sim?
I think we get a lot closer to real-world aviation and the journey a pilot takes.
Awesome.
You know, when you fall in love with aviation, you at some point you have an idea, what do I want to be?
Yeah.
And I think this sim now allows you to plot that path
For
and
sure.
actually learn what you need to learn in order
Yeah.
to be successful.
Yeah.
So that's totally new.
Awesome. That's one of the things I'm most excited for too, the career stuff and just the fact that it has a higher level of realism than it has in the past is very exciting. One thing I saw during I guess it was during Gamescom or during, I'm not sure which one, there's a few Xbox exclusive games that were going to PS5. Now I don't know if that's planned, if you could even say anything. Is there any possible future where that's a probability?
There's all kinds of possible futures. I would say the way I think about flight simming, I always go back to that space. For me, as a kid, I think aviation is a dream.
Yeah.
Every kid at some point looks at a bird. Everybody looks up in the sky and says, man, wow, that looks like freedom. And I think there's a certain emotion associated with that. And I oftentimes reflect upon our planet because I work so much on the digital twin. And our planet is vast. There's tons of people in it. And I always think about like is everybody has access to flight sim? Because many people don't have access to real world flying.
No, of course.
It's economically sometimes not possible, or there's no infrastructure or whatnot. So I'm much more than talking about hardware and those types of things. I think about humans.
Yeah.
And I oftentimes look at things like places like Africa. I actually look at this a lot these days. 1 billion people, vast majority of them are under 30.
Yeah.
And I wonder if they have ever even heard of a flight simulator.
That's a good question.
And like that's the thing I would be. That for me, that's the thing I want to go after.
It's a whole world they don't know about, but
Exactly.
they could be
And they would
obsessed
love
with
it.
if they
Why
try.
wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
exactly. This one's a little redundant because we talked about in the presentation that some planes are going to be rentable, which is a very good idea. And I know a lot of people buy stuff and regret it and things like that. So that's awesome. And then gifting as well. That was another thing I was going to ask, but that's confirmed as well, which is y'all gonna make so much money just off me. I'm gonna gift planes to everybody.
Of myself. I have so many friends. Awesome. I'm working on these planes sometimes for a year and a half, and I want to give them the plane, and I can't do it.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So I can give them some virtual currency. I'm like, what am I even doing here?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give you the Fokker that we just finished together. Like, so that was and the whole rental thing. I mean, for me, I've reasonable amount of money, but do I really want to just go out and buy every airport on earth for $20, $30? I'm like, no, I just want to just check it out. And if I love it, I love it. And if then I'll buy it, but let me just nibble on it a little and see if I enjoy it.
Yeah. Another thing, we know lots of third-party add-ons that you used to have to go to third-party for are now going to be in the sim. Obviously, we've had replay mode on PC. Not the best version, but we saw in one of the showcases that there's going to be a much better replay mode. Is that coming for Xbox?
Yeah, oh yeah. Absolutely.
There you go. People are going to lose their minds.
Oh yeah, Fabio is on it.
Yeah, people are going to absolutely lose their minds. I was in the F-18 earlier today, and then also the A-10. The A-10's gun looks a lot more like a gun than
it's a
it
sensor.
used to.
It's a sensor.
And I saw in the F-18 there's a switch, and it said like air-to-air combat or missile mode or something.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the choice not to depict weapons is one of them that are currently under review.
Yeah.
And honestly, we have some partners like Airplane Heaven I love those guys. They're from Australia, and they make World War II warbirds. And they always look at me like, Jörg, those things don't look right. What are we doing? And then, so that was a choice, and I'm honestly reflecting upon that choice. It's not there was nobody forcing us not to do it or to do it or whatnot. Right? So this is just something. As far as combat, this is not our sim.
Yeah.
We will not do combat.
Yeah, makes sense. Another opinion question: what plane are you most excited for?
That is a good question. Out of the ones that we're currently doing,
or you can give us hints to things that we haven't.
Yeah, I was just going someplace which I probably shouldn't. I actually think the Chinook is.
Okay, cool.
Because the way it's done, we upped our game like dramatically, and it's mostly because we work with teams that are awesome at these types of things. And in this case, we work with MILVIS, military visualization, right? They're now called Blackbird in this space. Yeah. But they've done this for the U.S. military as an actual sim.
Yeah, I think they have the SR-71 and P3D or something.
They announced a new SR-71.
Yeah, and that's
super cool.
Yeah,
like, oh my God.
That's exciting.
But yeah, that level of authenticity on the Chinook, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Excited for that as well. So in one of the commercials, it says, the sky's not the limit. Now, what we know now, probably talking about the ground and walking around and stuff, but...
Hey, I left it vague, right?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out slew mode today. I was going to see the altitude ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
So is there any chance for anything like a re-entry mission or something? And then also, what is the altitude ceiling?
I think it's like 90,000 or something. Like Seb would know. So basically, what we don't have done correctly is how the density of the atmosphere actually changes near the K point.
Okay.
So, but there are lots of people who want to do some space shuttle stuff. I mean,
I would love to.
It's what I said earlier, right? I'm trying to listen carefully what people actually want, and then we will try to make that.
So, of course, y'all brought the marketplace to 2020, and that's awesome being able to buy planes in the sim. There was some ridicule with certain developers, and I was wondering, is there going to be any quality threshold for adding planes?
Ooh, it's like a sore spot right there. He's putting some salt into something. Well, so we took this approach that we don't want to censor people.
Yep.
And I think that's right.
Yep.
It's like, I actually don't. I say that and I'm like, I say, does Amazon censor their stuff? I have no idea. But I suspect not. I don't think I should be the judge of this, and who would be? So that's why why we basically said, okay, so fair enough, our rating system might be kind of inadequate because it's too simplistic.
Yep.
If something is a 3.1, what does that even mean?
Yep.
So that we allowed more there, and hopefully that mitigates some of this. I would say it this way: there are some people that make fun of certain planes because they're simple, but on the other hand, they're the best-selling planes in the sim.
Yep.
And are we really saying that all these people who bought it and fly it every day are wrong? Or is it just people that say, this is not for me? Yeah. And that's okay. Yeah. You just need to accept that. Yeah. So I don't want to be the judge, and I don't want anybody on my team to be the judge. I think there's the court of public opinion should be heard and visualized, and I think that's good enough. Yeah.
And just for people watching, I wasn't referencing Captain Sim, I was referencing M Scenery mainly. Just there's a whole different tier there, and I just want to make that clear that Captain Sim is good for a lot of people, and that's fine. I wasn't referencing them. Just so everyone knows. I know you can't say anything.
I won't.
We'll ask one more real question, then an opinion question to finish it off. Obviously, there's no crash model. Is there any chance of a damage model for things like landing gear or tail strikes, things like that? Not a full-on crash, but just like you land too hard and now your gear is visually messed up and you feel it in the sim.
Yeah, so the design, we have a wear and tear system, and the design was actually just that. Okay. And like for example, if the fuel line broke, you would actually see the fuel come out, or the oil line, those types of things. And we showed that to a bunch of the manufacturers, and some of them were okay with it and some of them weren't, which is also saying that's not good enough, because they all need to be okay with it, because what we don't want to be is inconsistent. So we actually have all the information, but we just don't display it visually. It's in the results screen. It'll actually say you ruined your gear. Yeah. And you have to pay for that, by the way. But we don't want to show it. And I don't think to some degree it's necessary. Yeah. I am curious if the manufacturers will change their minds as they see this, and for them this is a pretty foreign place simulation. Yeah, for sure. But makes sense. But they see the benefits. Yeah. And I think nothing is ever set in stone. So I would say we'll revisit this again in a few years. Okay. And see.
Cool. And then last question, what do you think will have the most impact on a new player? Meaning, like, what will they notice most and what will they appreciate most that they didn't get in 2020?
the immediate thing is that you're a person,
Yeah.
and then that you will be taught differently, and that your entry point in aviation is different. I think that's what I'm really hoping.
Yeah.
But as I said in the presentation, I said there's 3 different types of audiences, and I do think
sure.
they're very, very distinct.
Yeah.
And the digital tourists, they will say that the world is prettier, and that makes sense to land someplace, and that collecting the world is fun.
Yeah.
That's all they really want. They don't really want to be a deeper explanation of how an engine works or something
Yeah.
like this. It's just not their thing, right? And gamers, I think, will see there's sort of an ease with which the career onboards you to aviation concepts, and I think they will not even. It will not be like you go to school and there's a curriculum. It will be just a playful way to learn something, which I think they'll appreciate.
For sure.
So I think the barrier comes down for them.
Yeah.
And then for the
noticed that
core
even-
simmers, we will see. Actually, I'm very curious how core simmers will react to the career. Because they know so much.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I'm
is
just
true.
waiting for them to say, "You're kidding! I have 5,000 hours in the sim. You want me to do PPL? Are you serious?" Yeah, we'll see.
Well, that's all I had for
Awesome.
you. I really appreciate it.
questions.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
And thank you for inviting me as well.
Oh,
I'm
please.
honored.
I'm glad
I
you
really
had a good
am.
day.
Yeah, it was amazing.